Welcome to this week's episode of the Inside Kingston podcast, where experienced professionals, entrepreneurs, and community leaders based in Kingston upon Thames are invited on to share their story with us. I'm your host, Amir Rochalina.
This week's episode of the Inside Kingston podcast is brought to you by Holland Harnham Wills, a financial planning and wealth management firm based in Kingston upon Thames. Holland Harnham Wills specialises in retirement planning for senior professionals and successful business owners. Visit hhw-uk.com to start feeling more relaxed and confident about your financial future.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Inside Kingston podcast. I'm joined today by Tara Majumdar. Tara is a speaker coach with a passion for people, languages, cultures, and innovation. What's unique about Tara is how her global upbringing gave her an exposure to many different cultures, which inspired her to become a speaker coach and help people get to the heart of their story. And be sure to listen to the end, where Tara shares with us some tips on how you can improve your public speaking by telling your story in a fun and engaging way. So whether you're interested in knowing more about public speaking or would like to know more about what it takes to run a successful independent business, then I hope you enjoy this episode of the Inside Kingston podcast. Welcome, Tara Majumdar, to the Inside Kingston podcast. Tara, I'm really excited about this conversation because not only do we share a passion for storytelling, but you also have a lot of experience on public speaking, and I think that our listeners can learn a lot from you on that. But to kick off this conversation, I'd like to go back in time, if that's okay. So Tara, where did you grow up?
Hi, Amir. I was born in Calcutta, or Kolkata as it is now called, an amazing city full of dazzling contrasts. I'm the oldest child, and I also have two brothers. They're twins. I grew up in Calcutta, right? And I left India in my early 20s. So after my studies in finance and software development, I went to Germany, lived and worked in Germany, then in Spain, and now in the UK. So, that's where I grew up from. Family life was mad, climbed trees, played with my cousins and brothers. It was an amazing time.
Awesome. And out of those countries you mentioned, the one I still haven't had a chance to go to is India. And that for sure is on my to-do list. And I'd love to take my kids who are young. I'd love to take them there as well, just to really soak up all the culture and all the scenes and the smells and the tastes and everything else. So definitely on my to-do list. So that global upbringing is really interesting, Tara. And of course, you mentioned university. So where did you go to university and what did you study?
So I went to the University of Calcutta and I did finance and accounting. We called it the Bachelor of Commerce there, did my master's in commerce. And as I was doing my master's, I studied software development because it was something I just wanted to learn and know more about. So that is something I did, a dual qualification there with the software development. And
It's fantastic. And could you tell us a little bit about your career journey before you became a speaker coach?
So I started out the place where I did my software development. I started out as a trainer of computer languages there. And then the time came to move to Germany, worked for a company, a mid-sized software firm as a software developer there. And I worked there for 5 years, after which my oldest son was born. He's 15 years now. And then I took a decision, do I go back to a 40-hour-a-week job or do I do something else? And at that time, I was just speaking on and off. And one of my friends, an Irish lady, who told me, Tara, let's just get you speaking. And she got me my first gig, essentially, and I call it gig because she calls them gigs, in Brussels, where I talked about culture and communication. So there were 300 people in the audience, and that's how I started speaking, essentially, before a large audience. And then I started doing workshops, doing trainings. The coaching came later, one-on-one came later, but did mainly the trainings in communication within teams, especially cross-cultural teams. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's for me, that's really interesting. And it's what fascinated me about your backstory when Liam from TEDx Kingston kindly introduced us. And I've had a chance, obviously, to have a bit of an understanding of that. But I'd like you to just share with our listeners, Tara, how do you think that global upbringing has impacted your ability to help people get to the heart of their story? Because I think that is the feedback I always hear back from folks that have worked with you is you help them untangle thoughts and get to the heart of their story. Would you like to just tell us a little bit about your thoughts around that?
So cultures and languages fascinate me, Amir. I just love going into a different culture, seeing how what doesn't work, and taking the best from them. To give you a personal example, growing up in India, I was the most unpunctual person I knew, right? So I would be fashionably late for all meetings. 30 minutes, 50 minutes was very cool for me. And I did that. Let's fast forward into Germany, where when a train says it's going to come at 5:47, it will come at 5:37. And to move into a culture where punctuality plays such a big role, and having learned how to be punctual to, and now I am one of the most punctual people I know. It's been a learning journey for me, to taking the best from what's there in a culture to learn from that. And from when we take that to speaking, to TEDx speaking, or with other speakers, I think there's so much to learn from every person that we meet, Amir, because and there everyone has a story, everyone has a point of view that needs to be said. And to get to that, to get to the core, because we are surrounded by noise. There's this lovely, beautiful message that needs to come out, but there's all that noise surrounding it. And we just cut through that noise, get to that relevant, that core that can help all of us. And I think we can all change the world in little ways by taking those core lessons and giving those a stage.
And that's super important that you mentioned that, especially I think for our small business owner listeners, who I know some have never had the chance or the exposure or the interest, for that matter, to be telling their story to the world on a stage. But what these last 12 months have shown us, Tara, is that stage is now digital, it's now the internet. And we all, as small business owners, have really got to learn how to tell our story so that people can find us, as you mentioned, in and amongst the noise. So for the benefit of our listeners, could you give us some insight as to some of the things that you see as essential components for good storytelling?
So for me, the question, I look at it from three angles. Why am I doing what I do, right? So the why is very important, and having clarity as regards the why is important. And then you come to what do I do? For example, for a small business owner, why is what is their motivating force, right? Why are they doing what they're doing? What's the reason behind that? And then we come to what they do, right? So what are the services you offer? What is it that you offer? And then we come to the how we do it, the process of it. But at the very core of it, and Simon Sinek has a lovely TED talk on start with why. And it is essential to know, why you're doing that, because people buy into that. They are not buying into your product or service, but they also buy into the fact that, what drives you, what motivates you, why do you do what you do? And to get to that is, I think, really essential. And
Yeah,
sometimes we get sidetracked by the what, by the how, but that's not important. The why is the first thing you need to get out.
definitely. And I second that strongly, especially given that my background is finance, my business is financial planning and wealth management. It's only too easy for someone like me to go into the how and the what, the technicalities of it. And we have worked internally with making sure that we're always placing the why for the client, especially first. And it's been transformational to our business. It's as simple as that, Tara. So no, I appreciate you sharing that. Tara, I know that a lot of people who get the opportunity to speak in public, or even as we've mentioned now in this digital world, more so than ever, that they want to be able to tell their message to the world, they might feel a little bit nervous when it comes to a public speaking engagement. I just wondered if you have any tips that you could share with our listeners to maybe try to work on those nerves and calm those nerves before a public speaking engagement?
Okay, there is this notion of perfection, Amir, in public speaking, that you have to be perfect. And I think for a speaker, for a person just starting out, the focus is very much inward. What am I going to appear as? What are people going to think? The imposter coming in. Is my message relevant? Is my message valuable? Or am I making any kind of sense there, right? And that focus can be changed, right? Because actually, it's not about you at all. It's about the audience and the conversation that you're having with the audience. And with the people I work, a part of it is also to switching this focus. It's not about me. It's about working, with the audience, having a conversation with them. And it's a bit of a mental switch. And once that happens, it's amazing. And this notion of perfection doesn't need to be there, because I think for me personally, the most compelling speeches are the imperfectly perfect ones, as I call them, because with the many imperfections, it becomes the most beautiful, perfect presentation, because people are looking for someone who's vulnerable, not perfect, a person who has flaws like all of us do, and to be able to, be okay with those flaws and just present makes a very compelling presentation, in my opinion.
Fantastic tips, and I definitely second that as well. I just ask our listeners to think of the experience they've had when they've been at a conference in their own professional field, or a personal development conference of any sort. When you hear that more personable story with all the flaws, the nooks, the crannies, the particularities to that particular person, even the way they talk, maybe they have a particular accent or something.
Exactly.
It just makes it for that much more personal and engaging, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
agree completely. And even a story, when you have a compelling story there, Amir, and every story has a lesson. And at the end of the day, we as a people, we want these universal lessons, for us. And there's something to learn from everyone. I really believe that. Something to learn from everyone.
I agree with you there. Now, let me switch gears on you, Tara, just a little bit, if I may, because I wanted to have a chat with you about networking. So we, of course, were introduced by Liam from TEDx Kingston, but we originally connected through LinkedIn. And I wondered, again, more so than ever in this digital world that we're living through in these last 12 months in particular of COVID and lockdown, could you give us an insight into how you use social media or think about using social media to generate an awareness about you and about your professional expertise?
Amir, there I have to say I'm a lazy lump, right? I don't do much with LinkedIn, but having said that, I do look after my network of contacts. I'm in regular touch with them, because at the end of the day, it is about relationships. The relationships that we forge on social media. Otherwise, I have got work through LinkedIn. People have contacted me. TEDx has been a wonderful arena as well, because with the work that I have had the privilege of doing with our speakers does give me a bit of a platform to reach out to other people. And social media is very valuable here. Am I using it perfectly? I don't think so. But it is essential to build bridges, build connections, build relationships with any person I think you speak to otherwise as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. And especially if we think about social media as exactly as you said there, as something that is social. And we continue being as sociable as possible, of course, in a digital world. But with our existing network, it's always nice, isn't it, to be reminded that people are also there online, maybe, looking for somebody to reach out or to say hi, or to just say, hey, remember we worked on that project, look at this new idea. And yeah, it doesn't need to be complicated.
And referrals. I think 99.999% of my work comes through referrals, work that I've already done, places where I've spoken at. And it is about having a proper message, delivering that message right, doing the job well, and work will come, right? And I've been in the business since 2006, right? I have been doing workshops, trainings, and seminars, and all of the work has come through that.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Tara, I mentioned there the word COVID and lockdown, and obviously we're still in lockdown number 3 here in the UK as we record. I'm just wondering, over these last 12 months in particular, how have you found operating your business during this period?
It has been challenging. There were a lot of cancellations after the first lockdown. I mean, I do a fair amount of work in Germany as well, and everything was cancelled there because obviously you couldn't travel. But having said that, the transition has been into the virtual world. I like using Zoom as we're using now, MS Teams, Blue Jeans. I've managed to do workshops. Which one do you prefer, Amir? Online or in person? In person any day. But online has been a good transition in the sense that you can do similar work. It's not the same, it's similar work, much shorter durations because people are checking their phone, people are distracted. There's a lot going on, and we are going through a difficult period. I have had work, coaching has been going amazingly well via Zoom, I have to say, without having the need to travel. One on one coaching works really well, and training has been good as well. But I would love to get back to in person coaching. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and attending some of those face-to-face events and conferences. I mean, that there's a lot of value in there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There is a lot of value there. And again, it is, connection with people. You deliver a keynote online and you deliver a keynote in person. There is a lot of difference, right? And the work that I do, I work for a local company called 8 Billion Ideas, a lovely, amazing company. And most of our work was also in person, but that has moved really well. We've managed to pivot really well into online work, and that's working well. So I guess as a human species, we are amazing at adapting. And I guess, yeah, what we have now is digital at its best, but we need the human touch as well.
for sure. Absolutely. So, Tara, what are some of the key business lessons that you've learned throughout your life?
Okay, so key business lessons come from the work that I've done. So I can tell you about a recent teamwork workshop that I did for a mid-sized software company. And we were working through identifying biases in communication. And as the team were, worked through their biases and underwent this transformation, was a very satisfying, a very gratifying moment for me, because when you see the transformation happening live, it's just amazing. Having coached now over 40 TEDx speakers and others, the scores of others I do as a part of my work, it reinforces my belief that everyone has a story, everyone has a perspective that needs sharing. And it is for me a tremendous privilege being part of a speaker's journey. And the biggest lesson I take from it all is at the heart of it, it is all about building strong relationships. And without relationships, and especially for small business owners, no matter what you do, without the relationships, without those bridges of connection, it can be a very difficult area indeed. So it is about building relationships. I am a hardcore believer in the power of relationships.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that you mentioned that, because of course, in your position, you have seen the effect that that person or that team finding their story, connecting with their why. You have seen many times the connection between that and that stronger relationship with their customer. And I think that's a lesson that our business owner listeners, and in fact, any of our listeners, can take to heart. This storytelling world that we're in at the moment, it is there for a reason. It's for people to connect with us in a way that they can't connect perhaps with a big corporate brand. And Tara, I'm sure you'll back me up on this. Big corporate brands are spending a lot of money to try to become personable, but we as small business owners, we start out with that personable as a given. So we just need to work that better to not only our advantage, but for clients to be able to find and connect with us when relevant.
Exactly. And it is about giving a part of yourself. So we talk about our professional lives, we talk about our personal lives, and especially, with the COVID situation, I think these boundaries are very blurred. Amir. And I think it's nice to have not black and white, but the many shades of gray going through, because it just makes life, business, everything so much more interesting, challenging too, but interesting and rewarding as well.
Definitely. Tara, what next for you and your business? Are there any projects in the pipeline that you can tell us about?
So currently, our TEDx event is, we are not sure whether we are going to be able to do that this year. I do have my personal coaching clients, working with them on their speaking journeys, and a few workshops scheduled May onwards, and I'm hoping that they happen in person, but there are no guarantees. A bit of travel involved, and I'm hoping I'll be able to travel provided I have my jab. So we'll see. A lot of it is up in the air, but part of it is moving online, and I'm grateful for that. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes.
Exciting times ahead.
Yes.
Good. So as we start to wrap up, I'd like to ask you a few quick fire questions that our listeners are always interested in. So Tara, what do you do to relax outside of the office?
Okay, so I'm an avid reader, Amir. I love reading. So at any point in time, I read 3 books.
Wow.
And I enjoy long walks as well. So usually these are aimless walks with no goal or destination. And I find it absolutely relaxing. Recently, I've restarted singing. So I used to sing a lot as a child, and I really enjoy doing that. It's been amazing, so relaxing to be able to sing again.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned books there. Are there any books that you've recently read that you would recommend?
I've got 2 actually. So one is called Idea Spotting, How to Find Your Next Great Idea, because I love innovation, things in tech and ideas. And it's written by someone called Sam Harrison. And I highly recommend this book because it's full of ideas. As you can see, I've got so many bookmarks in there. And the other book is by Liz Fusillian and Molly West Duffy, called No Hard Feelings, Emotions at Work. And it is beautiful. It's a very visual book with lots of drawings, simple drawings, but really, really nice. And I'll just read through quickly the chapters that are there. And that's applicable to all of us as we deal with people, health, motivation, decision-making, teams, communication, culture, leadership. And they've just done these beautiful drawings and really in very simple speak, talking about these really heavy themes like motivation or communication.
Fantastic. Thanks for those tips. I'll definitely check them out. Are there any movies or TV shows that you've recently watched that you'd recommend to our listeners?
Watched a lot. The one that I really enjoyed was The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, about the female chess prodigy. I really enjoyed that, and I would definitely recommend that. Watch The Serpent as well from BBC. Pretty scary stuff, but yeah, if you like crime and thrillers, something to definitely look out for.
Oh, that's fantastic. Finally, where can people go to find out more about you and your business?
I think the best way would be to reach out to me on LinkedIn for now, and let's connect and have a little chat would be the best way, I'd say.
Okay, and for the benefit of our listeners, I'll make sure that I put a link to your LinkedIn in the show notes. Tara, thank you for joining us here on the Inside Kingston podcast. It's been a pleasure getting to know your story.
Thank you so much, Amir. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
That wraps up another episode of the Inside Kingston podcast. Make sure to check out our guests' website, pay them a visit, and help spread the word about what they're doing. If you have any questions or know someone who should be a guest on the show, please feel free to get in touch. I would also love it if you could go to iTunes and leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We work hard to bring on some great guests, and getting a review from you is one way to help the podcast rate well on iTunes so that others can find and enjoy the show too. Thanks for listening.